A very good afternoon to all of you. A very warm welcome to each one of you for this important and the interactive session with Padma Shri Vaidya Shri Rajesh Kotecha ji, Secretary, Ministry of AYUSH, a man who is a staunch supporter of AYUSH sector and the AYUSH industry, and I believe he needs no introduction. At the outset, I would request Secretary Sir and the other dignitaries on the dais to kindly come forward for the lamp lighting. May I request everyone to have a big round of applause to welcome our Secretary Sir. And I would also like to mention that Secretary Sir has visited the PhD chamber the first time since ever he has taken the charge of Secretary AYUSH. So we wish to have him here again in the times to come. Thank you, Secretary Sir. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome Secretary Sir, Madam Kavita Garg, Joint Secretary, Ministry of AYUSH, stalwarts from the AYUSH industry, and the various participants who have come all along the way to join this session physically. I am deeply grateful to all of you. I would like to mention that there are also more than 300 students who have joined virtually for this session from across the universities and the Ayurvedic colleges to listen the insights and wisdom of words of this session. Before I would invite to give Mr. Multani's welcome address, I would request Vaidya Devendra Triguna ji, Patron AMAM, to please come forward to welcome Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji with the Statue of Unity. इसकी बात करो. I would request Mr. Pradeep Multani, President PhD Chamber and President AMAM, to kindly welcome Madam Kavita Garg, Joint Secretary, with the Statue of Unity. Ma'am, please come forward. I would request Dr. Rajiv Rai, Joint Secretary AMAM, Head R&D Dabur India Limited, to welcome Secretary Sir with a plant, a sign of appreciation, love and affection. Last but not the least, now I would request Mr. Asad Mueed, Managing Director, Hamdard Laboratories, to kindly present the plant to Madam Kavita Garg ji. Please, sir. Yeah, please come, please come. Just come. Please, 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 please. Now I would request everyone to stand for national anthem, please.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्ज्वल जलधि तरंग तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Without any further ado, I would like to request Mr. Multani to give his formal welcome address.
Thank you, Nishant. Namaskar, pranam to everyone. I extend my heartfelt and sincere gratitude to Padma Shri Vaidya Rajesh Kotecha ji, Secretary, Ministry of AYUSH, Government of India, for sparing his valuable time and coming to our chamber today to interact with the industry members and share his thoughts and vision with us. I would also like to welcome Shrimati Kavita Garg, Joint Secretary, Ministry of AYUSH, and Dr. Upadhyay has not come, so we are going to miss him here today. Madam, welcome. We also thank Padma Bhushan, Shri Vaidya Devendra Trigunaji, patron of AMAM and President All India Ayurvedic Congress and Ayurved Mahasammelan for his presence. And Dr. Rajiv Rai, Chair PhD Ayush Committee, Joint Secretary AMAM and Head Research Dabur India Limited. Dr. Asad Mueed, our patron member of Ayush Committee of PhD, and he is the Vice President of AMAM. Welcome, sir. And various other stalwarts from Ayush industry and members of AMAM. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know that India's Ayush sector has reported tremendous growth in the last few years because of growing global and domestic demand enabled by research and development in the sector. During the last few years, after the pandemic, the Western world has turned to India to explore the best practices of alternative medicine. Secretary, sir, I would like to highlight that after 2014, under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Ayush sector has witnessed unprecedented growth. The Ayush sector was less than $3 billion in 2014, which has now crossed $18 billion and growing rapidly. The Ayush sector is projected to grow to $23.3 billion in 2022, and with India looking to take traditional medicine to the world, its size is likely to grow much faster. Following the guidance of Modi ji, Ministry of Ayush under your kind leadership has done a tremendous job to promote the Ayush system domestically and globally, and also accomplished remarkable works during the COVID-19 pandemic by hand-holding the Ayush fraternity and showing the right path at the right time for the betterment and good health of the masses. In the wake of the COVID pandemic in early 2020, Ayurveda-based preventive healthcare gained prominence in the consumer mind space. People became more inclined to health remedies of Ayush sector, especially immunity boosting products. Ministry of Ayush issued various guidelines and advisories to improve immunity and advise simple home remedies easily accessible to the general public. It also recommended a set of self-care guidelines duly vetted by eminent Ayurveda experts for preventive health measures with special reference to respiratory health and enhancing immunity. Sir, I would like to mention that we have many delegations which come from abroad, and then they try to tell us that India should emulate the American model or the European Union model or the English model. And then we tell them, please emulate the Indian model, because at the time of COVID-19, all your economies, all your healthcare sectors failed. It was our Ayush, our Indian health sector, which performed remarkably. For a 135 crore population, our number of cases were practically nothing as compared to the West. And of course, if you look at the number of deaths, yes, there were a lot, but look at the percentage, they were one of the least in the world. So I think the Ayush sector, of course, played a remarkable role in that. Apart from guidelines and advisories, the Ministry of Ayush also launched campaigns such as Ayush for Immunity to disseminate the health promotion messages in the general public and set up an Ayush COVID-19 dashboard to furnish the details of guidelines related to Ayush measures for improving immunity, official communications, research undertaken on COVID-19 measures for prophylaxis and management. One of the most possible causes for lower rates of morbidity and mortality in India was definitely the use of immunity-promoting interventions from the ancient traditional system of medicine involving Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, Naturopathy, Siddha, Soya Rikpa, and homeopathy, and several home remedies based on traditional knowledge. India is the world's second largest exporter of Ayurveda and traditional medicines in the world, and is continually promoting its export interests. India's strong ancient knowledge on Ayush and well-developed supply chain network will help export market to grow due to an increase in demand from international markets. With a strong base of ancient Ayurveda and significant use of Ayurvedic medicines, India is poised to be a global leader and is projected to see an impressive 50% increase over the course of the next 5 years. I may also mention that the growth of the Ayush sector will definitely be a big help in doubling of farmers' income, because just by growing wheat and rice, the farmers' income cannot be doubled. If they shift to medicinal plant cultivation, and I think our National Medicinal Plant Board is doing a great job. If we can have our farmer brothers to shift to medicinal plant cultivation, we can not only double the farmers' income, but make it 3 times, 4 times, 5-fold increase. I would like to end my welcome address here, as all of you and our virtual participants are here to interact with our Honorable Secretary Rajesh Kotecha ji. On behalf of PhD Chamber and AMAM, I once again welcome you all and seek your active participation in today's important discussion with Secretary Ayush and other dignitaries present from the ministry and the industry. Friends, I would request you all to give a standing ovation to Secretary Ayush for his outstanding support to Ayush sector and industry. Thank you. जय हिंद और प्रभु की हम सब पे कृपा बनी रहे. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Mr. Multani, for your encouraging word and highlighting the achievement of the Ayush sector under the leadership of Secretary Sir. We look forward to have an exciting and encouraging session today with Secretary Sir. I would request Vaidya Devendra Trigona ji to kindly give his address, please. Thank you.
आदरणीय भारत सरकार की आयुष मंत्रालय के मेरे अपने छोटे भाई स्वरूप वैद्य राजेश कोटेचा जी, प्रदीप मुल्तानी जी, पीएचडी चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स के अध्यक्ष, असद मुईद जी, जो कि हमदर्द के मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर भी हैं, लेकिन बहुत ही यूनानी और आयुर्वेद को वो भी इंडस्ट्री के रूप में और सब जगह ना कि देश में पूरे विश्व में ले जाने के लिए कृत संकल्प हैं, डॉक्टर राजीव राय जी, मैडम कविता जी, जिनसे अभी थोड़ी देर पहले चर्चा हुई थी कि उनकी किस प्रकार रुचि है आयुष सेक्टर में, और सब जो लोग हम यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं आज, कोटेचा जी को सुनने के लिए, विचारों को जानने के लिए, इंडस्ट्री के बारे में जो सेशन अभी होगा। मेरा अपना ये मानना है कि कोटेचा जी ने जब से ज्वाइन किया है, अब तो शायद 5 साल पूरे हो चुके हैं जून में, और एक बड़ा ऐतिहासिक है कि 2 वर्ष उनको और एक्सटेंशन भारत सरकार ने, प्रधानमंत्री जी ने दी है। शायद ही मुझे लगता है भारत सरकार में 7 वर्ष कोई भी सेक्रेटरी एक ही डिपार्टमेंट में रहे, यह बहुत बड़ी बात है। मैं खुद भी और महासम्मेलन की ओर से भी प्रधानमंत्री जी को भी विशेष धन्यवाद दूंगा कि उन्होंने हमारे कोटेचा जी को एक उनका एक जो छुपा हुआ गुण था वो पहचाना, और वो एक टेक्नोक्रेट के साथ साथ में एक किस प्रकार मिनिस्ट्री को चला रहे हैं, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। और उसके साथ साथ में वो कुशल चिकित्सक भी हैं। बेसिकली वो पहले अच्छे चिकित्सक है, क्योंकि हमने देखा है 20-25 साल से किस प्रकार वो जयपुर में उनकी अपनी चिकित्सा कार्यालय है, ना कि देश में पूरे विश्व में वो उस माध्यम से आयुर्वेद को उन्होंने जोड़ा, तकरीबन पूरे यूरोप में, अमेरिका में, कनाडा में, काफी देशों में। तो ये है, उन दर्शाता है कि किस प्रकार उनका वो मोटिवेशन है आयुर्वेद को पूरे विश्व में ले जाने के लिए। और उसका फायदा हुआ हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में। हम कभी जब सोचा करते थे कि हमारे डिपार्टमेंट को, मुझे याद है कि अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी जब प्रधानमंत्री थे तो मैंने उनसे उस वक्त एक दफा कहा कि हमारे डिपार्टमेंट में आप सेक्रेटरी वैद्य को लगाएं, तो उन्होंने मेरे से कहा कि आप सेक्रेटरी बन जाओ। मैंने कहा नहीं जी, मैं तो चिकित्सक हूँ। तो कहने लगे नहीं, फिर मैं आपका जो मंत्री हूँ मैं। तो अटल जी ने उसको एक हंसते उसमें टाल दिया कि मैं आपका मंत्री जो हूँ, आपको क्या जरूरत है। लेकिन मोदी जी ने इस काम को अंजाम दिया और उन्होंने पहचाना कि किस प्रकार इस सेक्टर को कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। और कोविड टाइम हम सब ने देखा है, लगे रहे। प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जब एक दफा मीटिंग ली और उसके बाद में पूरा डिपार्टमेंट कैसा लगा रहा। मैंने तो तकरीबन हफ्ते में 1 दफा 2 दफा जब कोटेचा जी से मिलते देखते थे कि वो दिन रात किस प्रकार वो लगे हुए हैं। और इस कोविड टाइम में अगर आज पूरे देश के अंदर ये कम हुआ है, उसमें मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ आयुष का, हमारे डिपार्टमेंट का, हमारे कोटेचा जी का इसमें विशेष योगदान है कि हमारे भारत सरकार में, हमारे पूरे देश के अंदर ये कोविड कम फैला, फर्टिलिटी कम हुई और हमारा एक्सपोर्ट पूरी दुनिया में बढ़ा। कितने गुना बढ़ा? 4 गुना, 5 गुना। ये बहुत बड़ी बात थी आयुर्वेद के लिए। मैं कोटेचा जी को अपने दिल से बहुत धन्यवाद दूंगा। और रोज उनसे चर्चा होती रहती है, लेकिन आयुर्वेद की, चाहे वो रिसर्च की बात है, एजुकेशन की बात है, मेडिसिन प्लान है, एमओयूज इतनी सारी दुनिया में, इतने सारे देशों से हुए हैं। आज जामनगर के अंदर जो हमारा ट्रेडिशनल सेंटर का ग्लोबल सेंटर जो बना है, प्रधानमंत्री जी का उसमें विशेष योगदान, विशेष उनका वो। लेकिन कोटेचा जी जिस प्रकार उसमें लगे थे, उस सेंटर को यहाँ भारत में लाना, ये बड़े गौरव की बात है भारत की। मैं दिल से फिर इसलिए भी कोटेचा जी को दिल से धन्यवाद करूंगा पूरे आयुर्वेद समाज की तरफ से कि जिस प्रकार वो लगे हुए हैं और दिन रात लगे रहते हैं और फिर अपनी चिकित्सा भी देखते हैं। देखिए, जयपुर में 2 दिन जाके, चाहे जब भी समय मिलता है उनको, वहां जाके चिकित्सा भी करते हैं। तो ये बहुत बड़ी, चिकित्सा के लिए चिकित्सा करनी बड़ी बात होती है। तो ये उस एंगल से भी वो पूरा अपने साथ में संलग्न रहते हैं। तो मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा, लेकिन इतना मैं कहूंगा कि कोटेचा जी के आने से टेक्नोक्रेट, जब हमारे कोटेचा जी एज ए सेक्रेटरी आए हैं, हमारे डिपार्टमेंट की बहुत तरक्की हुई है। जब ये सेक्रेटरी आए थे तो एक आईएएस लॉबी, मैं बहुत लोगों को जानता हूं जो उसमें थी कि शायद ये सफल नहीं होगा ये जो किया है प्रधानमंत्री जी ने। लेकिन जैसे जैसे समय बीता और ये इतना सफल हुआ कि आज वही लोग, जो लोग कहते ये बहुत अच्छा हुआ और बड़ा सफल ये प्रयोग हुआ, और कोटेचा जी ने जितना काम पूरी आयुष सेक्टर के लिए किया है वो ये बहुत अनुकरणीय है। और मैं चाहूंगा कि भगवान उनको खूब लंबे समय तक इस डिपार्टमेंट में रखे और आगे भी इस पे काम करते रहें, ताकि आयुर्वेद जगत का, आयुर्वेद समाज का, इंडस्ट्री का, और ना कि देश में, पूरे विश्व में उसको लेके जा रहे हैं। मैं उनका दिल से धन्यवाद करता हूँ। जय आयुर्वेद।
Thank you, Vedji, for your kind and encouraging word. And we should also not forget that your contribution to the upliftment of this sector is also immense. Thank you, sir. Since, as we all know that today is an interactive session with the Secretary Ayush. So in this session, it would be a one-to-one interaction with the Secretary, sir, and the interviewer, Mr. Anil Kaushal, who is business head and senior vice president, Lupin Limited, would be taking the interview of Secretary Ayush on the questions. That would be followed by the question and answer by the participants who are present here. So I would request everyone to be off dice, and Mr. Kaushal, you please come forward to have a seat. Sir.
Good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, sir. Namaste. You know, it's a privilege and a rare privilege to first to interact with Vaidya Kotecha ji, and as Tribhunath ji and Muktanand ji mentioned, a technocrat who has taken the bureaucracy forward, who has actually eliminated the bureaucracy and taken this forward seamlessly. Never before in the last so many years have I seen AYUSH sector so active. And I've been in the healthcare industry for many years. And I've seen that never before this has been so propelled faster. And even in the COVID period, the most active stream of science was the AYUSH sector. I think I thank you for that. And it's a privilege to speak to you. And we have several set of questions which the guests present here have asked. And I think the students and people who have joined online, they also might have questions. So I'll not wasting time, I'll start with them. And thank you, Vaidya Kotecha, thank you for your time and the privilege to interact with you. We were talking about the progress which has happened in the last few years. You are aware that India's effort of inclusion of the AYUSH, which is Ayurvedic, Siddha and Unani, in the international classification of diseases, which is the 11th revision, to the globally accepted disease classification system of WHO. So how do you think inclusion of AYUSH in this system would help the traditional medicine as well as the AYUSH industry?
Actually, this is a very apt question. You know, I compliment you to start with this important question. It's a very good sensitization of the industry also. We all know that ICD-11 is a benchmark for the diagnosis morbidity codes. So all the diagnoses are captured in entire medical science with these morbidity codes, and it is used for so many purposes, for research purposes, for documentation, for insurance purposes. So many areas, even it is linked with the standard operating procedures of the treatments, etc. So this is more of like a propagation of AYUSH worldwide to the root. At the same time, generation of large-scale agriculture. So how it works? It starts with, you know, the thought process started with our signing of MOU with WHO for in 4 areas, like creating benchmark documents in the area of Ayurveda, Panchakarma, Unani, and Yoga, and benchmark documents in the area of practice and training. So when we started working with WHO, we realized that there is another strategy possible, is to get us, our terminology, our morbidity codes included into the ICD-11 traditional medicine chapter. And until now is only traditional Chinese medicine has got this their codes entered into ICD-11. So we started talking with WHO. In the meantime, one of the officer from the Government of India has been nominated of having AYUSH expertise into the traditional medicine unit of WHO at the P4 position. So we have tasked him to explore. So he was instrumental. He talked with the WHO concerned departments and came out with the fun proposal of having MOU with some support of Government of India. We happily did it. And now I want to just mention a very interesting fact that for TCM, it took 10 years plus to get it into TCM, the ICD-11 chapter, traditional medicine. But for us, now we are at almost there. We have completed 75% of task in 3 years. And maybe in a year or maximum 2, our morbidity course will be included into ICD-11. So what are the inferences? Not only documentation, not only the standards of or standardization of treatments, or more, not only beneficial to the service industry, but it is also good for manufacturing industry, because this brings in lot of quality things into the sector. Lot of quality perspective of products also comes into the picture. For example, Dr. Dua is sitting here. He is basically a scientist from CCRS. We have sent him on deputation to BIS, Europe Indian Standards. And the purpose was to use his expertise into creating standards. So he is working and his team for creating Indian standards of AYUSH products, Ayurveda, Yoga, and other sciences. Look at the possibility. At one end, we are working at the WHO platform for creating this ICD inclusion. We are also working in the area of terminology. And these possibilities that once we developed IS Indian standards, then it is easy to get those standards into ISO standards. So ISO standards is a vertical where our products gets entry into 150 plus countries. There is a big confusion about ISO products into rest of the world, that we are only medicine. So there is a lot of prohibition of importing our products into different countries. So we only have access into very small number of countries. Of course, our products are going to 100 plus countries, but not in big volumes. So we need to think of scaling it up. And this is the route. At one end, working with WHO, having value addition. Another is having such type of vertical. I am happy to also inform that this month only, BIS has decided to create an AYUSH vertical, an entire AYUSH department under BIS through this effort. So in coming years, lot of our products will have ISO standards. And this route is easier than medicine route, because every country has their own regulations and their own apprehensions. So we need to correct that. So there is a win-win situation, I think.
I think a very progressive step actually for actually enhancing the opportunities for the AYUSH industry and quality, actually standardizing of AYUSH. Thanks a lot for that clarification and the detailed answer for this. In the last 2 years, we have seen the digital age has really skyrocketed. The information technology has really taken the front seat. And there have been many initiatives which have been taken in the AYUSH sector under your able leadership, like the AYUSH Next, the platform for knowledge dissemination, the eMeda catalog, the book repository, the AYUSH information hub, which is for public access for people to verify and validate the AYUSH product information, and the eAyushadi. These are just few of them, which is eAyushadi, of course, is the online licensing of AYUSH products. So how do you see the role of this IT, since this has already been done in the last few years itself, in how it's going to benefit the stakeholders and the sector per se?
See, we have seen in our country that in adding IT, it adds value, and it is possible to scale up. These are the two possibilities. So relating the first question, I want to mention that we have created a Namaste platform, and this platform is an IT-based platform of morbidity records, which we are translating into, and supporting WHO for creating ICD-11. So this Namaste platform is an example where we have created an ecosystem. Then we worked with under AYUSH Grid. I will explain what is AYUSH Grid. Under AYUSH Grid, we have started working on creating an ecosystem of AYUSH-based health management information system, AHMIS. And this is now, I'm happy to also inform that yesterday only I did detailed review, and I'm happy that it is also ready to launch. We did a lot of pilot safety assessment, everything is done now. It is ready to roll out at a big scale. And this particular software is having this benchmark kind of facility where it is having API connection with the National Digital Health Mission, ABDM. So ABDM code is, having reflection of having like possibility of interacting with each other. And then it's also report generation, evidence generation using those ICD codes. So this is an example how interoperability can deliver. So you also mentioned about AYUSH Next, AYUSH Information Hub, and lot of other things. Actually, this is the part of AYUSH Grid, which is an initiative of Ministry of AYUSH to create IT solutions, IT backbones for everything related to AYUSH. So be it education or research or regulation or practice or public health, everywhere. And there should be interoperability. So it will be a very big thing. And for that, we also got a lot of help. For example, there was a high-level committee chaired by Secretary Ayush and co-chaired by Secretary IT. And these both secretaries they came out with a very good recommendation. We are getting a lot of help from mainstream government of India and digital like MyGov platform, and all are onboarded. So basically, scaling up is possible through only this route. And I'm happy to mention that even in pilot of this AHMIS, we were able to document more than 100,000 patients. So as a pilot also, we did 100,000 patients. So it is very good standardized. You mentioned about e-Aushadhi because it is related with industries. I would like to explain that also. e-Aushadhi is a portal where everybody is onboarded. The industry is onboarded, the state licensing authorities are onboarded, government of India is onboarded, and there is a transparency factor included in it. So it's like open platform where anybody can see that if I'm buying a medicine of a particular firm, particular industry. So what is their status? Where are they located? Whether their license is there or not, whether I'm buying that particular license is there or not. So it's like transparency factor comes in. One more thing that through this e-Aushadhi and through another initiatives like Government of India, largely this government chaired by, headed by Honorable Prime Minister, that we should have minimum compliance burden. So I'm also happy to mention that out of 36 odd compliances for licenses, we were able to remove 34. So that is kind of the proactive governance, what we say. The 34, what have been removed is more all generation 19th century, kind of provisions, and there are some criminal offenses also. So we were able to remove all these criminal offenses kind of thing is only related with penalty or those kind of things if somebody actually violates the rules. But criminal proceedings are totally removed. So all this is possible is because of bringing in transparency, and transparency and scalability is only possible through IT. So that is why we are doing all these efforts under AYUSH Grid.
I think indeed, I think again, it deserves a round of applause because it's a step of foresight. It not only will benefit the industry, but I think it will benefit the people at large, which is because IT is the best way to reach out the last person on the ground. Thanks a lot for explaining this talk. Recently, Dr. Vaidya Tripunaji and Multanaji mentioned about the recent foundation stone laying of the Global Center for AYUSH with WHO by the Honorable Prime Minister. And it's a matter of pride, which this happened in Jamnagar. It has triggered new opportunities for the industry. So how do you see this center in particular? I mean, we would seek your view on this. This global center would be an advantage for India and the AYUSH sector in particular.
Actually, I would like to give an example that in 90s or in 2000 plus, Kobe Center of Japan came in. WHO Global Center for Health Technology. It is known as Kobe Center because it is situated in Kobe in Japan. And Japan is now leader into health technology. This is the inference, how it happened, because the WHO center is their global center. So all activities of research and development are surrounded by Japanese companies and the sector of Japan, where health technology were evolved, and now it is world class. So best of medical equipments are coming from Japan, and the Kobe center's contribution is everybody knows. So WHO Global Center for Traditional Medicine is a WHO outpost or extension of headquarters in India. So I would like to mention this from another perspective, that until now, no UN office has been established in any developing countries. This is the first example of an outpost or UN office in any developing countries in the history of UN. So that is one thing. Second thing is that there is an example that since 1975, there is a small department, traditional medicine unit in WHO, and it is supported largely, until now, it is supported largely by traditional Chinese medicine countries, not only China, but countries who is supporting traditional Chinese medicine. And look at the development of TCM across the world. It is because the WHO platform. So now when we have WHO Global Center, which is much bigger than a small unit in India, which Government of India has committed for a support for 10 years of more than 1,000 crore rupees, is not a small commitment. And it has a great possibility not only for the sector research per se, but industry, the overall sector growth. It is very important because lot of such vibrant activity will happen in India. And all this will be surrounded by AYUSH sciences. Though it is a global center for traditional medicine, so all of the traditional medicine will come to India. The primary domain of this global center is generating scientific evidences and how to integrate traditional medicine to mainstream medicine or public health. So huge work will happen into this center. There will be a lot of networking across the world for traditional medicine. And this will be an epicenter for that. One more advantage is that it is in Jamnagar. In Jamnagar, there is an Institute of National Importance of Ayurveda under Government of India. It's a very old institute, very having a great reputation for generating a lot of good evidences and benchmark of education. And it is staying, this center is right there. So there is a great possibility of having great collaborations, and eventually it will be having great benefit. There is a great benefit for the industry because the model of WHO is to bring everybody on board. So it's not a government kind of thing, but everybody works together, and then there is a huge possibility. I would say after 10 years, when maybe if we talk with each other, I will be able to showcase, look at this, how much has happened.
Indeed, I think this is a brilliant step towards making India a superpower in healthcare, where traditional medicine becomes the rocket behind this. There is a report, the RIS report, which mentions the market size of AYUSH industry today is around 18 billion and supposed to end by the end of this year, it will be around 23 billion. By the end of this decade, what do you see how this industry would go? Because it has really jumped leaps and bounds in the last few years. But what is your take on this? And how do you think it will impact the exports, especially for AYUSH?
Actually, in 2014, then the NDA first government came under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Modi ji. The budget of Ministry of AYUSH was 691 crore. And in 2022, it is 3,050 crore. So look at this, from less than 700 crore, it is more than 4 times. But this is just an inference. There is a lot of ease of doing business. Like we are very fastly improving our ranking into the world, ease of doing business. So facilitation, ease of doing business, opportunities, everything has happened. So in based on 2014 data, there are 2 studies. One is a CIA study, another is Ved and Goraya study. Both of these studies are mentioning that at that time, the sector size was roughly 21,500 to 22,000 crore rupee, which is $3 billion. And when I joined the office in 2017, we have decided that, okay, it was 3 billion. So we will by 2022, we will reach to $10 billion. It was a very kind of, ambitious target that we will grow by 3 times in 5 years. So we have, Pradeep ji also knows that we did a lot of meetings and we planned and we have a lot of deliberations with industry, how to reach to 10 billion. So the COVID came, COVID, of course, COVID was a big disaster on mankind. But for AYUSH sector, somehow it came also as an opportunity. I should not use this word opportunity, but it could be a business avenue for the. So because of the lot of sensitization, science-based evidences and all those things, the sector grew very rapidly in last 2 years. So we have instituted another study in 2021 based on the data of 2020, RIS Research and Information System, which is an autonomous body of Ministry of External Affairs. And there we are supporting, we have created a vertical in RIS known as FITM, Forum of Indian Traditional Medicine. So in this FITM, we have instituted this study. It's a policy research body. So they came out with this report that our actual size of manufacturing is $18.1 billion in 2021. So from $3 billion in 2014 to $18 billion in 7 years, it grew by 6 times, which is unprecedented. And it is only because of the able leadership of our Prime Minister, visionary leader, and because of all this hand-holding and attention to the sector, this is possible. This became possible. I would like to cite another example that our pharma sector, we are considered as a world's pharmacy, and we are exporting to almost all countries of the world our medicines, generic particularly. The size of pharma sector is $50 to $51 billion, 4 lakh crore rupee, and our size is $18 billion. Look at the attention they get. A lot of research agencies, entire departments, science departments are working for the research into the area of pharma, ICMR, all these agencies, lot of institutions across the country, CSR institutions, DBT institutions, ICMR institutions, lot of facilitations. And then the size is 50 billion. And our size is, without doing too much, $18 billion. It means that there is a huge undercurrent, huge undercurrent that we should be visualizing and we should be capitalizing. So as a matter of fact, what we initiated an impact assessment study in 2020. This impact assessment study was to visualize that actually what happened, how people are taking it, because media to kehta tha ki Ayush ko sab log le rahe hain, kada le rahe hain, ye le rahe hain, below le rahe hain, sab le rahe hain. But we actually wanted a formal scientific documentation of it. So we have launched an AYUSH Sanjeevani application. Under this AYUSH Sanjeevani application, we were able to collect the data sets of 1.47 crore people. Huge, more than 1% of our total population. So after data cleaning, we were able to look at this 1.35 crore data. 12 lakh we have eliminated because we have data safety management board and they agreed on 1.35 crore data sets. So after analyzing, we found that 89% people, they have reported that they have used AYUSH for COVID as a prophylaxis or as a treatment, 89%. And out of this 89%, 86% reported that they are benefited in the terms of lifestyle, quality of life improvement or immunity, or there are some certain set parameters, science-based parameters. Actually, we were able to publish this study into one of the very good leading journal having 5+ impact factor. And that is very eye-opening that how much is the undercurrent. There is another study, another survey by Rajasthan Patrika among their readers. So the questions were like that: if you fell ill, whether you will take Ayurveda, allopathy, or both. And the another question was that where will you go first? And to everybody's surprise, 69% of people have reported that they will first look for Ayurvedic doctor. And 14% reported that will look for both. A remaining said they will go to allopathic first. So this is an undercurrent. Another study, another survey by Outlook for netizens. So they did a quick survey through their online platform of netizens by Outlook. There will be similar, like all these people, netizens are generally new millennial people, young people. There was a similar observation. 70+% people said we'll use Ayurveda and other Ayush sciences if needed for our health conditions. So what I'm trying to convey is that it's not just imagination, it's not just hypothesis. There is a huge potential, huge opportunity. What we need is we need to capitalize it. We need to look at this from a positive commerce perspective. And there we need to think big. I request through this platform to our industry that there is an opportunity, ample opportunity. Please think big. बड़ा सोचिए, बड़ा काम हो जाएगा और कोई कमी नहीं है. Then you have also mentioned about export potential. Export, there are some issues. Issues is prohibitory provisions at the importing country. So what we are doing as a facilitation to the industry. Recently, we have this next cycle of our amendment schemes. So supporting schemes. So now we are supporting to industry. If some industry wants to have their product registered in X, Y, or Z country, there is a provision of support up to 50 lakh rupees per product. I'm requesting the industry to take advantage of this scheme. And to my surprise, no industry is coming forward for such wonderful scheme. So please take advantage of this. Another thing is that we are also communicating with these regulatory agencies. Like we have in Europe, India, European Union agreements, we have a joint working group for Ayurveda. So there we are working with them to get our products approved or entered into European Union. Last week only, we had a detailed meeting with US FDA. So US FDA, there is an office here in Delhi. So we have invited that team to ministry. We had long interaction. And to my surprise, what they mentioned is to me that Dr. Kotecha, please help us so that we get more products from India. Because we look forward for Ayurveda and other products in our country. So please help us. So we visualized and we have agreed into one very good proposition that FDA USA and Ministry of Finance Government of India will jointly organize workshops and sensitization program for the industry. How to get our facility FDA compliant so that they can export to USA. So those types of things are happening. Thank you.
Very important step. And I think the industry is listening. All the people are here online as well as in person. They would jump on this opportunity, which Dr. Vaidya Kotecha is mentioning. You mentioned about modern medicine. There's a question from someone that, what do you think the integration? How do you think the integration of Ayurveda and modern medicine? How do you think about? What is your view on that?
Integration has a lot of confusion in our. Whenever we talk about integration, generally speaking, people understand that we are talking about mixopathy. We are talking about that Ayurvedic doctors should be allowed to practice allopathy. Allopathic doctors should be allowed to Ayurveda and so on. It is not integration. Integrative medicine, maybe we can use integrative medicine in place of integration. Integrative medicine is where a patient is benefited for their clinical condition and they get the best out of all different pathies. For example, we have proposed, and now it is already under National AYUSH Mission, that morbidity of lymphadenitis, filariasis is, we all know that so there is no cure. Once a person develops this lymphadenitis, they have to suffer. So they have repeated infections because their skin they become so sensitive and their grooves gets repeated infections. So we came out with this, one integrative model in Kasargod. There is a skin specialist, allopathic doctor, having specialization in skin. He has developed this protocol with the help of CCRS. We did joint studies. And this is a protocol of morbidity management of paralysis, in which, with the interventions of Ayurveda and Yoga, we are able to successfully reduce the infections, repeated infections, and reduce the swelling. This is great help for the quality of life. So those kind of evidences can be onboarded. Another example, recently American Association of Cardiologists, they came out with new guideline for the treatments of CAD, coronary artery disease, where they have formally dictated and introduced yoga. Another example, that post-cardiac arrest, post-MI, rehabilitation is a big problem and it's very expensive. So post-cardiac MI, there are some very good studies and now it is onboarded. Now they are talking about that we use yoga as a formal intervention as a post-MI rehabilitation. There are certain Ayurvedic interventions. For example, we have Center of Excellence in AIMS. So in add-on Ayurveda intervention, Ayurveda and yoga, we have seen that the management of migraine, the intensity and frequency of headaches are much less with the same level of medicine. So patients are saved with not more medicines. Another example is that we did a NIH with the grant of NIH, Krishna Kumarji's institution in Coimbatore. They did a study about comparison of or a comparative study of management of rheumatoid arthritis as compared to methotrexate and Ayurvedic intervention. And we found that both have the same outcome and is published in Journal of Rheumatology. So now we are doing a large-scale study, multi-center study for the same model. What I'm trying to convey is that what is best in any medical system is to be brought into the mainstream. And that is the very good example of integration.
I think that would go a long way for people to understand that this has a role. Ayush has a role in every aspect of healthcare and can coexist with any other stream of science.
That is why Govt of India has recently introduced this cafeteria approach. So, and I am happy to mention that in 26,000 PHCs and CSCs, 26,000 PHCs and CSCs, there is an Ayush doctor available, sitting there as a co-location facility, and patient is free to decide when they go to the PHC or CHC, they are given the choice whether you want homeopathy, Unani, Siddha, Ayurveda, or allopathic medicine. So it is already happening.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Doc, for this. And over 300 plus students are connected with us today. And this next question is about there is a need of strengthening the industry academia linkages to provide soft skill training in the sector, especially for the students who are pursuing BAMS, BUMS, or BSMS. What were your comments on this, especially for the students who are aspiring to join this industry and take your career forward? What do you see? What is your view on that?
Actually, I want to categorically mention that after the new enactment of National Commission of Indian Medicine, National Commission of Homeopathy, these team of NCH and NCISM, they already had communication with industry. So they are visualizing that can these students, as a part of their internship program, can they come into industry? And there is a consultation happening. So they are trying to visualize that these students should spend some time in industry so that they can visualize how much is the opportunity. They have first-hand experience, and it could motivate them. It can motivate them to come into this industry sector, because as of now there is a large scale belief into the students' mindset that if they are doing this graduation, BSMS, BHMS, or BAMS, they are either become a doctor or they go to post graduation and they become teacher. But there are so many other opportunities that we need to disseminate to the students. Like not only the pharmaceuticals manufacturing, there is a huge scope in service industry. Very, very huge scope. We have already instituted the study of our service sector, and it will come out before 15th August. Again, we have given this task to RIS, and we are visualizing the size of this service sector could be about the same. It's huge. Thousands of people are coming to Bharat, but we are not recording, we are not documenting it. So for that purpose, we have, and of course, our Honorable Prime Minister also, he has declared into this global summit about the AYUSH visa. So this AYUSH visa is now happening because we had an agreement with Minister of Home Affairs. Just day before yesterday, I had a detailed meeting with Secretary Coordination in Home Affairs, and there is an agreement that AYUSH visa will come up. So now look at this possibility of service industry, that AYUSH visa is there. Then this Heal in India initiative of Government of India. Heal in India is look at the possibility in cultivating the medical value travel in our country. We are number 10 in all over the world ranking. We want to become number 1. So how to make it possible is by capitalizing the potential of AYUSH. And at this point, I want to mention that largely it is believed that we are the wellness people. It's not true. We are not just wellness people. We are having a lot of possibility of therapeutic health treatments. People are coming to India. They are not coming for wellness. If they are coming for tourism, they take wellness. But they are not primarily coming for wellness. Primarily, they are coming for treatments, serious treatments of serious disorders, or Shodhan Chikitsa or detoxification kind of thing. So for long COVID, for example, thousands of people are coming to India for their problems with long COVID. So we need to look at this possibility, huge possibilities there. I have seen this. Even I came from practice field, so I have seen that people from all over the world are flocking to India. So this is another opportunity. So service industry, manufacturing sector, research, startup ecosystem, entrepreneurship. So we also have this incubation center in our old age of Ayurveda, and we will be establishing all national institutes, one incubation center each. So there's a great opportunity. In IT also, there are some certain wonderful platforms offering networking of AYUSH physicians and offering their services abroad through telemedicine. So telemedicine also is now officially, we have also notified under Gazette notification that telemedicine is also allowed in AYUSH sector. So if somebody wants to enter into that area, we have wonderful examples in our country also, like Dr. Pratap Chauhan's model, or there are some more models, Jiva Ayurveda. So what I'm trying to convey is there is a huge opportunity, never happened. And we all need to capitalize this. One more thing happened during this COVID is that the AYUSH people got a lot of respect in the community. So this respect came out of the work what AYUSH had contributed for the, in the COVID crisis. So this respect is there, and we need to look at that possibility of this respect converting into a positive kind of business model. So I'm not trying to say that we need to exploit that. No, there is no exploitation, is not our Sanskriti. But maybe we can think of, converting this into scaling up of the models of AYUSH. The problem statement is that if as a layman, if I'm a layman and I want to get help from an Ayurvedic doctor or Unani doctor or Siddha or Savarikpa, there are not so much providers. मेरे आसपास में देखूं तो मेरे को इधर उधर ढूंढना पड़ेगा, नहीं मिलते हैं. And that is the problem. This is the problem statement. There is huge opportunity. There are less providers. So we need to fill this gap. Thank you.
You are actually a role model for. You're actually a role model for the entire AYUSH sector, Dr. Vaidya. And many of the students who are watching, what's the message? I mean, you have shared all the opportunities which are right now there with a strong undercurrent. What's the message when they look up to you, they're aspiring? And I think you actually epitomize what is possible for someone in the street.
Actually, over the period of time, I learned that if we want to do something from we want to achieve something, we need to decide at once and then work from our heart. It happens. So, looking at all these opportunities, possibilities, I would, through this platform, I would urge the students to decide at once that look, this is your identity. We are having that identity, and that is going to become our livelihood. So we also have a responsibility to pay back to our country, to our sector. And that is the message, that we need to commit at once, that whatever best is possible for my sector, I will contribute. And in return, Lakshmi ji is so kind that she will shower the lot of blessings.
Very apt, very aptly put. I'm sure they feel motivated to join this and see you in this chair. Dr. The next question is, the Ayush Export Promotion Council has been established with your unwavering support and persistent follow-up with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. What is the potential tangible benefits for the Ayush sector in this?
This is also very relevant question. I must compliment that we were trying to visualize and get this done since few years now. Now it is happening. Ayush Export Promotion Council is formally being established. Until now, the exports of Ayush, particularly the manufacturing industry, was being taken care by Pharmaxil. It was wonderful. Pharmaxil was helping this sector a lot. So there's no doubt about that. But then there was the need of scaling it up. There was need of an independent body who only can think about this welfare and benefits and facilitation of Ayush industry. So that is happening. So this Export Promotion Council, Ayush Export Promotion Council, is responsible for export facilitation, not only for products, but services, and also export of human resource. So this is another initiative of Government of India is Heal by India. So Heal by India is that if anybody in the rest of the world is requiring some help in the area of health, we are there to help through our expertise of human resource, expert human resource. So exporting human resource who is competent and able to deliver. This is also one of the agenda. So for example, there is a huge demand of Ayurvedic doctors across the world. There is a tremendous short supply. So it means that we have people out there, but they don't know what to do. वहां जाके क्या करेंगे, कैसे deliver करेंगे, उसका sensitization चाहिए. So that kind of models, benchmarks, export facilitation, country to country requirements, and then handholding the industry, facilitation, bridge between government and industry, and all those things are we are visualizing that this Ayush Export Promotion Council will be delivering. And I'm happy to mention that we are getting a lot of help from PhD Chamber of Commerce, lot of help from AMAM and all other industry bodies. And this is a unique opportunity for all of us. And I'm happy to note that all across these different organizations, everybody is onboarded. So that's a very, very good news.
The Honorable Prime Minister of India, the Honorable Ministry of Ayush, your good self, and all have put efforts behind, along with senior officials have put efforts behind creating that conducive environment for the Ayush sector. Never before have you seen that level playing field for Ayush sector, what it is today. But what is your expectation from the industry?
This is a very good question. Actually, I'm not replying in the form of criticism, but I'm replying more from the expectation perspective, that we need a lot of support from industry, a lot of kind of hand-holding, kind of inputs. Like if we send some communication to industry for some input, some consultation, usually we have to follow up. Usually we don't get such feedback in time. So this is one request to the industry. Another is give us guidance, look at this opportunity and please guide us. Like, for example, Honorable Prime Minister he had declared very good some of the declaration into the Global Ayush Investment Summit. For example, he has mentioned about Ayush Park. So हम लोगों तो को पता नहीं चलेगा कि हम क्या करें, इंडस्ट्री को बताना होगा that what is to be done. I was looking at one of the communication of Multani ji as a president of PhD Chamber of Commerce. He has written to the pharmaceutical industry and informing them about PLI. कि PLI में अभी 15,000 करोड़ का प्रोविजन हो गया है, इसमें इतना लाख करोड़ का बिजनेस होगा, इतना लोगों को बेनिफिट मिलेगा, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होगा. तो प्रदीप जी को मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि आप आयुष पे PLI के लिए क्यों हमें पुश नहीं करते? दिस इज एन एग्जांपल. व्हाई नॉट? ऐसे प्रधानमंत्री जी also he has announced about Ayush startup and startup ecosystem. So we are visualizing a scheme about Ayush startup and seed fund. We are also trying to visualize about can we have an umbrella scheme of having Ayush Park and PLI and Ayush startup and seed fund. So we need a lot of help from industry. Industry is working actually in the field. We don't know what is the requirement. It is industry who will help us to visualize and come on board so that we can do best whatever is possible for the industry. This is the perspective of the present government under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister. Prime Minister repeatedly says in all the platforms that it is industry who is shining, that is our country is shining. So industry should be facilitated, but industry also should come forward so that win-win situation happens only when we two work together and it becomes 1 + 1 = 11 and not 2.
I'm sure the industry is listening. We will collaborate. I think this is we will double our efforts to collaborate with you and take this forward and your efforts forward. And you mentioned about the Honorable Prime Minister's announcement of the setup of Ayush Park in the Global Investment and Innovation Summit, and also about creating an Ayush quality mark, which is special Ayush mark. How do you see? I mean, you have given a perspective, but how do you see the redesigning of the image which happens with this?
This is also very apt question because I wanted to mention about that. Ayush mark, until recently there was a non-saleable product with Ayush mark. Like we have this Quality Council of India, Ayush Premium mark, Ayush Standard mark. And it's a non-saleable product because we were not able to connect it with COPP, WHO, GMP. And we were also not able to connect it with the export facilitation. If somebody has Ayush mark, they are not automatically getting privilege of export. So those are the problem statement. So what we are visualizing, Honorable Prime Minister in his address, if you look at his address again, then he mentioned that we are going to establish Ayush mark through technology. So it is more of a technology intervention than the inspector kind of thing. So it is not, we are not visualizing or thinking of that model that we launch a new scheme, we revise the scheme and some inspector will come to your door and inspect. And then the inspector will certify whether you are complying with this or that. All those days are gone. What we are visualizing is that technology-based Ayush mark should be visualized. So it could be, for example, we could have, and this still needs consultation. It's not implemented. I'm just putting some thoughts for the as a food for thought, so that industry come back to us with their suggestion. That, for example, we have for export, our product goes as a supplement. So herbal supplement, dietary supplement, or food supplement. So can you visualize the Ayush mark for Ayush dietary supplement, Ayush food supplement, or Ayurveda Ahar for that? And can we connect it with some simple kind of certification? For example, ISO 22000, HACCP, or WHO GMP compliant. So these or. So ISO 22000 or WHO GMP or COPP or HACCP. And those facilities can be easily given this Ayush supplement mark, gold mark or silver mark. So that is easily possible. And there could be some easy, simple benchmark of having, a laboratory having entry level of NABL certification, entry level. I'm not making it trying to complicate, but simple. So if somebody has entry level NABL certification, somebody has a along with these one of these, then they can get easily, and then these marks could be included into our country to country dialogue through Commerce Ministry. Commerce Ministry is already sensitized, and Pradeep ji knows that in our now it is decided that all country to country dialogue AYUSH should be part of it. So we can include this and motivate the other countries that look, we have ISO standards and we have this mark. So please accept this as an import facilitation into your country. So there is a huge potential, but we need to work on it. We need to talk together and we need to visualize how to do it. So we are initiating consultation, but we will look for a lot of inputs about that.
Thanks, Vaidya. I've come almost to the end of the Q&A which we had, but what would at the end of it, what would you want to share beyond what you have spoken right now with this group as well as the students and the industry? Your closing comments, sir.
Actually, I have a lot of clarity about what our sector should do. So first thing is that because of this new environment, don't believe that we are second-grade citizens. No, we are competent, and this sector is representing true Indian heritage. We all are supposed to propagate it and capitalize the opportunity. This is one thing. Second thing is that for this, we need to look at our competence in all areas, world-class infrastructure, world-class human resource, and world-class education, world-class research facilities. Everything, when it come together, then we can deliver. So my request to the sector, industry, students, researchers, academia, that please think about this. If we do not improve in our education, then all of this opportunity will be lost. If we do not generate evidences, then this opportunity will be lost. If our industry do not match with the quality requirements, then the opportunity will be lost. So without doing any shortcut, we all should work together and then decide it once they will deliver. Then all these opportunities will be capitalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vaidya. So you see almost every question had an applause from the audience here, applause from the audience here. So thanks for giving us time, sharing your wisdom and your thoughts. And thank you so much. That we come.
Thank you, Secretary, sir, for all the words. I would request Mr. Anil Kaushal to come present the plan to Secretary, sir. Please.
So during the discussion, you had mentioned that the full potential and the advantage of this WHO Global Center, which is going to be established in India, will be seen in the next 10 years. So through this platform, I pray to Almighty to have you with us for at least another 10 years, as you have shown to the entire world that a Vaidya can also spearhead this ministry in a more competent and a big way as a bureaucrat can basically spearhead. So my compliments to you, and sir, we wish you a good luck for the future endeavors also, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Due to the paucity of time, we would like to take at least 2-3 questions. If any participants have, please. Sorry, yeah.
Good evening, sir. My name is Sudeep Kumar Jha. I am the chairman of AYUSH Committee of Asian African Chambers of Commerce of Industry. Last year, I went to Nepal with a delegation to meet with Director General Health, Government of Nepal. There, they asked me that any kinds of import from India, they need the COPP certificate, which is very, very problematic because big companies, they might have like Dabur, Multani, they might have there, but small companies, suppose if I have a company. Yeah. So, and that time DG told that, okay, when we are exporting our herbs, so Government of India also telling us some different kinds of barriers. Can Ministry of AYUSH or chambers may have to go ahead with some of the process that these kinds of COPP may have to.
Actually, this is a kind of barrier. So we don't have control on other countries' policy, but I would like to mention about what we did. So we have sent actually industry and government delegation, where Ranjit Puranik and Dr. Dua and a couple of industry colleagues, they went to Nepal and to specifically address this issue. But what we could see that there is a prohibition, is a prohibitory kind of action from the government. So we are working with government of Nepal to take this decision back, because even developed European countries are not having that barrier of COPP. It's kind of prohibitory, counterproductive of business, and government of India is not having any restriction of importing raw material from Nepal. So we are having this argument with government of Nepal. So we are taking it up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Namaskar. I have two quick questions. Okay, I'm Dr. Nitin Agarwal. I'm Managing Director of Bliss Ayurveda, and I'm a Vaidya by profession, of course, practicing Vaidya. So first is about the service sector. As we are going to introduce AYUSH visa, it's a suggestion also, and also an answer from you that are we also looking forward that once we have the AYUSH visa, is Ministry of AYUSH going to have certain clinics or hospitals which are authentic with Panchkarma treatments, as you stressed on that as well, so that suggestions can be given to embassies or all over the world or to certain areas, so that people are not confused, because there's a lot of thing that's happening that even is marketing. It could be false marketing also. And then is the hotel industry, which is way ahead of us, which takes care of the marketing aspect and can get the clients to the sector, which is not authentic Ayurveda or Panchkarma, but primarily wellness. So ek to ye hai ki usme, what is your opinion on that? The second thing is, of course, is a problem. This is happening nowadays, especially with the manufacturing industry and exporting to Europe. They have come up with few controls, extra controls, especially with etoshine, ethylene oxide also, and all that ETOs. And the problem is that it is fine. They can control, because unfortunately, some of our industry was not able to meet the standard. So they brush the whole Ayurveda industry just with one brush. But India mein Cefexil karke organization hai, in Kolkata based. So they authorize them that you can provide us certificates, you can give us certificates for every ETO, ethylene oxide. And for every shipment, you have to provide this certificate. Even if the batch is the same, you have to produce another certificate, create a new batch like that. So it has become very expensive for exporters, especially if you are medium scale or small scale. So my suggestion is, can the ministry intervene and can help us with that aspect also, so that we can take care of this?
Both of these things are being taken care of. So let me take the first question. That with the help of collaboration with Ministry of Health, under Ministry of Health, there is a vertical of Within India, which is, and this Within India, they are developing a portal where AYUSH is also part. And we are also working with them. In this portal, the hospitals who is having these benchmarks, NABH, entry-level certificate of NABH, and other benchmarks, state verified or state accredited institutions, etc. They will be listed. It is an end-to-end product. So if somebody goes to that website and contact a particular hospital, so through this portal, they are facilitated to these providers. So the idea is the same, that the quality people should be projected there as our country's speciality, and not the fake people. So this is being taken care of with this portal. This portal will be launched before 15th of August. It is already in final stage. We have also provided our inputs. Second is about this new requirement. So it's an EU, you know that EU is also a hard nut. EU के साथ बात करना भी थोड़ा हम लोग हमेशा के साथ कोशिश करते हैं dialogue की. So we'll take it up through Commerce Ministry, but in the meantime, we'll get more certifying agencies so that it's not expensive. अभी एक agency है तो बहुत महंगा पड़ता है, but if there are more than few agencies, then it becomes actually affordable. So that route we are taking. So in few days, in next few weeks, you will see that we'll get more such agencies who can certify this, that this is a, like batch to batch quality testing is genuine and etc. What they need is just somebody certified that this certification, this quality benchmark is genuine, and that's it. So, but for that also it is too much complicated. I don't know how this came in, उनके दिमाग में कैसे आ गया पता नहीं.
पता नहीं कैसे आया.
इसमें कोई लॉजिक नहीं है. There is no logic. कोई लॉजिक नहीं है कि वो कोई भी इसको सर्टिफाई कर दे. They don't even verify. But as a matter of fact, जैसे हमारे पास 40 साल पहले हमारे देश में साइकिल के लिए लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता था, ट्रांजिस्टर के लिए लाइसेंस लेना पड़ता था. आपको याद होगा, मुझे तो याद है कि छोटा था तो मैंने हमारे घर में सब लाइसेंस साइकिल का भी लेना पड़ता. तो वो वाला मामला है ये. They are going back, but that's fine. We'll cope with it.
Thank you. We very need it because हर shipment बहुत महंगा हो गया.
We'll definitely take it. It is already under our consideration in the ministry. We'll follow it up.
Thank you.
One last question, please.
My name is Rajesh Puri. I'm director with Back4 Pharmaceuticals. We are exporting to more than 25 countries. One of the issues comes is on a very simple GMP certificate. Each state is giving a different type of a GMP certificate. Can Ministry of AYUSH have one model for all the states to be given one standard? Because sometimes some like Gujarat's GMP certificate is very nice. The UP's GMP certificate is Form 2060, which does not reflect GMP itself in their certificate. So if Ministry of AYUSH could have one particular GMP certificate model which is circulated to each state, so that when exports take place, these small issues do not come.
I am very happy that whichever is coming up, we are already, on it. So there's a good news that in last recent meeting of DTAB, the Technical Advisory Committee, this matter came up, and we are actually working on it to have one standard template of GMP certificate. It is already going on. The issue is that we are in a, our country is having this cooperative federalism. So we need to take state on board. We cannot just dictate the state. So that process takes time, but we are on it. We are working on it. There's one more thing that you all may be facing, or maybe this issue need to be discussed, is the issues with the state licensing authorities. So it's a huge issue. We are aware about that. We are also working with state licensing authorities. There's a new development is that having a vertical at CDSCO of AYUSH. So that vertical, we are now in the process of hiring human resource for that. Once this vertical happens, then this process will be seamless. Abhi to state licensing authority are, in some states, there is a problem. In some states, they are very efficient. So we are trying to bring into, one ecosystem of IT-based solutions under EO study. And I think their problem will also be resolved in next few months.
Just, I'm sorry.
You don't explain, you just put a problem statement because I understand.
See, and the other is in exports. We have at the airport or we have wildlife. Now, at the airport, wildlife inspector comes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If Wednesday happens to be a holiday, Monday to Friday, the consignment is held up at the airport, waiting for the inspector to. Even if it is a formulated product, which is a result, I cannot understand the system of.
We are also, we have taken up this problem because also wildlife inspector is not available to every airport, every port. So small ports like dry port in Jaipur or dry port in other places is not, wildlife is not available. So we are working with that. There's another thing that I want to mention. It's very, I'm happy to inform that lot of our exports are put under the HS code as others. So we are not able to actually capture the exact volume. So we are working with Department of Revenue and DGFT. We also got help from Invest India and RIS and industry. And now the AD code visualization is in final stage. So in next few weeks, maybe before 15th August, I'm not sure because it's very technical and tedious process, but they agreed upon having at least 250 of our commonly exported commodities, where we have dedicated AD code. It's not only single one, but formulations also. So this is one of the very important good news. Other is that they also committed that once we introduce this 250 plus, then if required, they are ready to give us additional HS codes. So this entire export thing is a bit complicated for AYUSH, is being simplified. We'll take care of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the time has come for the felicitation ceremony. So I would request. Sir, now I would request Vaidya Devendra Triguna ji to kindly present a memento of idol of Ganesh ji to. Okay.
वैद्य जी, आपकी आज्ञा से 2-3 सवाल हमारे लोगों ने पूछे थे, तो जरा एक, जब क्योंकि हमने आयुष सेक्टर के बड़े कॉलेजेस के साथ हम जुड़े हुए हैं, तो ये सिर्फ पूछते हैं कि भैया आयुष में हम जब आते हैं, स्टूडेंट बनते हैं, बी फार्मा हो या BMS हो, तो हमारा स्कोप क्या है। तो ये मैं जो कहना चाह रहा हूँ, लेकिन उसको आप प्लीज एंडोर्स करिएगा, क्योंकि बच्चे थोड़े कॉन्फिडेंस उनका बिल्ड हो जाएगा। तो हमने जो देखा, एक तो ये है कि भैया जैसे बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां वाले, जैसे दावर है, वैद्यनाथ है, हमदर्द है, मुल्तानी है, आप कंपनियों के मालिक बन सकते हो वैद्य बन के। दूसरा ये आता है, अभी जैसे वैद्य जी ने बताया कि अपार्ट फ्रॉम आयुष, न्यूट्रास्यूटिकल्स में भी बहुत बड़ा स्कोप है, क्योंकि एक्सपोर्ट में जब क्यों हम बोलें कि भैया तू दवाई खा हमारी आयुष की, आप हमारी फूड आइटम्स आप खा रहे हैं, हेल्थ फूड सप्लीमेंट्स करके। सो देयर इज ट्रेमेंडस स्कोप इन द न्यूट्रास्यूटिकल्स एंड ऑफ कोर्स आयुष सेक्टर। इसके अलावा प्रोडक्शन है, क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस है, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल है, ड्रग टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरी है जहां पे आपको जॉब मिलेगा, फूड टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरी है, रेगुलेटरी अफेयर्स है, बिजनेस एक्सपोर्ट। ये मैं सर जो बोल रहा हूँ, हमारे स्टूडेंट्स जुड़े हैं उनके लिए कह रहा हूँ। बिजनेस में आप एक्सपोर्ट के डॉक्यूमेंटेशन बिल्ड कर सकते हैं, बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव्स बन सकते हैं, मैनेजर्स बन सकते हैं, R&D है, मेडिकल ऑफिसर्स बन सकते हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि आप आयुष के सेक्रेटरी भी बन सकते हैं और पद्मश्री भी हो सकते हैं। इसके अलावा हमारे साथ वैद्य त्रिगुणा जी बैठे हैं, तो यू कैन बी अ लीडिंग प्रैक्टिशनर, पद्मश्री और पद्म भूषण भी आप हो सकते हो। फिर आप चाहें तो आप चीफ मिनिस्टर गोवा के, और जैसे छत्तीसगढ़ में, गोवा में डॉक्टर प्रमोद सावंत जी हैं और छत्तीसगढ़ में डॉक्टर रमन सिंह हैं, तो आप वो भी बन सकते हो। तो ये हमारे आयुष का दम है। बोला बोला बोला। और लास्टली भारत में 4 बड़े इंडस्ट्री चेंबर हैं, CII, FICCI, PhD और SOCHM। अगर आप मेहनत करोगे तो आप उनके प्रेसिडेंट भी बन सकते हैं। थैंक यू।
I want to add one sector, that is medicinal plant cultivation. There is a huge scope.
Please.
Now I would request Dr. Rajiv Rai to kindly give his vote of thanks.
So, thank you, Nishant, and I would like to convey my regards to all of you who are present here and other attendees who are connected through the online mode. सबसे पहले मैं अपना आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करना चाहूँगा परम आदरणीय पद्मश्री वैद्य श्री राजेश कोटेचा जी को, जो हमारे आयुष मंत्रालय के सचिव हैं और अपनों के बीच हैं, तो हमारा एक अलग लेवल का कनेक्ट है, जो शायद आयुर्वेद फ्रेटर्निटी के सारे लोग ऐसा महसूस करते हैं। और ऐसा हमने भी देखा है कि वो बहुत इजीली लोगों से कनेक्ट होते हैं और उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी होती है। इस प्रोग्राम के लिए भी अतिशय व्यस्तता के बावजूद भी उन्होंने अपना सहर्ष हमारा ये आमंत्रण स्वीकार किया इस संवाद कार्यक्रम के लिए और बहुत ही मोटिवेटिंग बातें की। मेरा खुद का भी ये मानना है कि आयुर्वेद में कुछ खास एरियाज हैं जिनमें बहुत इनॉर्मस अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, जैसे अगर आप देखो कि नॉन कम्युनिकेबल डिजीज या मेटाबॉलिक डिसऑर्डर या लाइफ स्टाइल डिसऑर्डर जिनको बोलते हैं, और साथ में हमारी जो एक ऋतुचर्या या दिनचर्या की बात की जाती है, इसके साथ अगर इन एरियाज में अगर हम कुछ करें तो हमें लगता है कि बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी है और इसमें बहुत कुछ रिमार्केबल अचीव किया जा सकता है। तो मैं कोटेचा जी का बहुत ही आभार व्यक्त करता हूं और मैं आयुष चेयर का मैं यहाँ पे अध्यक्ष हूं, तो मैं इस नाते और एक अच्छी इंडस्ट्री को मैं एक रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा हूं, वहाँ के रिसर्च को मैं हेड कर रहा हूं, तो वहां से मैं आपको ये विश्वास दिलाना चाहूंगा कि आपने बोला कि इंडस्ट्री की तरफ से कोई इनपुट अगर चाहिए तो हम हमेशा सहर्ष आपको ये इस तरह का इनपुट के लिए अगर कोई भी रिक्वायरमेंट होगी तो हम आपको वो अपनी तरफ से प्रोवाइड कराने का पूरा प्रयास करेंगे। और हमारे व्यक्तिगत लेवल से या हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लेवल पे अगर कोई टेक्निकल सपोर्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी, जो एक्सपर्टीज हमारे पास अवेलेबल है आयुर्वेद के उत्थान के लिए, तो हम उसको प्रोवाइड करेंगे। इस चीज का हम यहाँ से एक आपको प्रॉमिस करके आपको ये एश्योर करना चाहेंगे कि आपकी अपेक्षाओं पे हम खरा उतरेंगे। थोड़ा सा मुझे ये और भी बोलना है कि सर, मैंने आपके नेतृत्व में बहुत सारा इतिहास बनते हुए देखा है। मैं एक स्टूडेंट लाइफ से मेरी एक बड़ी अंदर से इच्छा थी कि आयुर्वेद में कुछ ऐसा हो, इसमें हर एक आयुर्वेद का विद्यार्थी सोचता है, शायद आपने भी सोचा होगा कि आयुर्वेद में ये कमियां हैं, ये चीजें चेंज होनी चाहिए। तो वो बहुत सारा इतिहास मैंने आपके रिजीम में देखा है कि जो चेंज हो गया, तो वो इतिहास बनते मैंने देखा है, जो कभी सोचा नहीं जा सकता था कि ये इतिहास बन जाएगा और ये चेंज आ जाएंगे, तो वो इतिहास मैंने बनते हुए देखा है। फिर भी मेरे को लगता है कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर को अभी आपसे बहुत सारी अपेक्षाएं हैं और वो इतिहास भी बनेगा आपके नेतृत्व में, और आपके पास एक और मौका है हमें इस इतिहास को बनते देखने के लिए। तो इन शब्दों के साथ मैं पुनः आपका आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूँ। मैं आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूँ मैडम कविता गर्ग मैडम का, जो हमारी संयुक्त सचिव हैं। थोड़ी देर पहले मेरी मुलाकात हुई और एक दो बार और मेरी मुलाकात हुई है, तो बहुत ही मृदुभाषी और सरल हैं और जेंटल एंड हम्बल जो मैं बोलूं। और मैं आपको आभार व्यक्त करूंगा कि आपने अपने व्यस्त समय में से समय निकाल के आप आई और हमारे इस प्रोग्राम में आपने इसको अटेंड किया और हमारे गौरव को बढ़ाया। सो थैंक यू मैडम एंड हमारी तरफ से आपको पुनः मैं धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं आदरणीय हमारे त्रिगुणा जी को जो पद्मश्री और पद्म भूषण है, और हमारे संरक्षक, मेंटर या गुरु जो भी आप बोलें वो सब कुछ है। और मैं जब से मैं अमाम से कनेक्टेड हूँ, आई कैन से दैट फ्रॉम 2004 ऑनवर्ड, मैंने जब भी देखा है कि त्रिगुणा जी को हमने जब भी किसी प्रोग्राम में बुलाया है, आप शहर चले आए हैं। और मैंने एक चीज और फील किया है कि त्रिगुणा जी बहुत ही आयुर्वेद के लिए प्रोएक्टिव हैं, और जो आयुर्वेद का जो बोलते हैं ना कि आयुर्वेद का ओरिजिनल स्वरूप, उसको बनाए रखने के लिए आपकी बहुत ही जिजीविसा रहती है अंदर से कि उसमें कोई चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए। वो चीजें और जो वो विधाएं लिखी हुई है आयुर्वेद में, वो एज सच अगर फॉलो हो, वो रॉ मटेरियल हो, उनकी अवेलेबिलिटी हो, तो आपका जोर रहता है। और वो सही है, क्योंकि अगर वो चीजें हम छोड़ देंगे तो आयुर्वेद का स्वरूप कहीं और चला जाएगा। दो देयर इज ए बिग नीड टू वैलिडेट आवर डिफरेंट फाइंडिंग्स एंड वी हैव टू बी एविडेंस बेस्ड, लेकिन वो चीजें भी हम छोड़ नहीं सकते। तो मैं पुनः आभार व्यक्त करता हूं अपने संरक्षक त्रिगुणा जी का। मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं हमारे अमाम के प्रेसिडेंट और यहाँ पीएचडी चैम्बर के प्रेसिडेंट मुल्तानी जी का, प्रदीप मुल्तानी जी का। जैसे जैसे उम्र बढ़ रही है वैसे वैसे मैं बोलूंगा कि आप में जो ऊर्जा है वो उसका संचार बढ़ रहा है, ऐसा मैं बोलूंगा, क्योंकि जो उत्साह मैंने देखा है अभी कुछ हाल के फिलहाल 1-2-3 वर्षों में, वो उत्साह मैंने देखा है कि वो बढ़ता ही चला जा रहा है। तो आयुर्वेद के लिए बड़ी अच्छी बात है कि आप में ये उत्साह का संचार हो रहा है, और हम आपके साथ हैं सर। हमारा कंधा आपके साथ लगा रहेगा हमेशा। और आपने देखा होगा कि आपने जब भी इस तरह से कोई प्रोग्रेसिव बात की है तो मैंने सहर्ष आपके साथ में हाँ मिलाया है कि हम तैयार हैं, चाहे वो किसी भी तरह के सहयोग की बात रही हो। तो मैं आपका भी बहुत बहुत आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं असद मुईद जी का, जो कि हमदर्द के ट्रस्टी हैं। और मैंने आपको भी अमाम की हर एक मीटिंग में और आयुष के हर एक प्रोग्राम में मैंने देखा है कि इस सेक्टर को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, जो कि हमारा एक इम्पॉर्टेंट काउंटर पार्ट है आयुर्वेदा के साथ में, तो मैं आपका भी आभार और धन्यवाद व्यक्त करता हूं कि आप हमेशा हमारे प्रोग्राम में आते हैं और सक्रिय रूप से आप यहाँ रहते हैं और आप अपनी उपस्थिति हमेशा दर्ज कराते हैं। तो आपका भी आभार और धन्यवाद। मेरे सामने मेरे बहुत सारे दोस्त और खास लोग भी दिख रहे हैं जो आयुष मंत्रालय में चिकित्सक और विभिन्न पदों पे हैं। कुछ मेरे जूनियर भी हैं, तो कुछ को मैं नाम से भी जानता हूं। एक डॉक्टर प्रदीप दुआ है, एक अभी खास एक डॉक्टर सुमित हैं, तो आयुष मंत्रालय में है। कुछ और लोग भी हैं जिनको मैं नाम से नहीं जानता हूं, लेकिन मैं चेहरे से पहचान रहा हूं सारे लोगों को। तो मैं नाम नहीं ले पा रहा हूं, तो इसलिए मैं क्षमा प्रार्थी हूं। लेकिन आप सबका भी आभार है, धन्यवाद है कि आपने इस आयुर्वेद के गौरव के लिए जो हम लोगों ने कुछ आगे बढ़ाने के लिए एक प्लान किया है कि इंडस्ट्री को मोटिवेट करेंगे, और जिससे कि सोशल इम्पैक्ट इसका बढ़ेगा। और जब इंडस्ट्री मोटिवेट होगी तो अल्टीमेटली वो सारा कुछ आयुर्वेद को प्रोपोगेट कराएगा। तो आपका भी आभार कि आप इस प्रोग्राम में आए और आपने भाग लिया और हमारा उत्साहवर्धन किया। अमाम के थ्रू जितने हमारे इंडस्ट्री मेंबर्स जुड़े हैं, जो हमारे सदस्य हैं, सक्रिय सदस्य हैं, वो सारे बहुत सारे लोग मुझे दिख रहे हैं। कई सारे लोग ऑनलाइन मोड से भी जुड़े होंगे। तो मेरी तरफ से आप सबका भी आभार है। आपका सब सक्रिय सहयोग और बढ़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि आपने सुना है कि अभी कोटेचा सर बोल रहे थे कि बहुत सारी चीजों को हमें जल्दी टैप करना होगा, अदरवाइज वो फ्लश आउट हो जाएंगी। जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू एग्जिस्ट लॉन्गर। सो हमें जल्दी से जल्दी उनको टैप कर लेना होगा। अंत में मैं अपना आभार व्यक्त करना चाहूंगा यहाँ पीएचडी के सारे स्टाफ और मेंबर्स को जो यहाँ पे हैं, जो हमारे सामने दिख रहे हैं। आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत सारे लोग दौड़ते भागते नजर आ रहे हैं। तो ये ऐसे लोग हैं जो कि रियल वर्कर हैं इस तरह के प्रोग्राम को कोऑर्डिनेट करने में और सक्सेसफुल बनाने के लिए। और मैं रियली हर एक प्रोग्राम में इन लोगों को बहुत ही आभार मानता हूं कि क्योंकि ये फिजिकल लेबर और सारा मैनेजमेंट जो टेक्निकल करना है, हर एक चीज को कोऑर्डिनेट करना, मैं एक खड़ा होकर यहाँ से मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ इसके लिए जो यंत्र है वो सुचारू रूप से चल रहा है, इसमें भी इनका योगदान है। तो इन सब कार्यों के लिए, और इन्होंने जो पेन लिया कितने दिनों से लिया, तो मैं इन सबको भी मैं अपनी तरफ से एक आभार और धन्यवाद देता हूँ। अगर किसी को मैं छोड़ दिया किसी को, तो उनके लिए भी मेरे आभार और धन्यवाद। अगर किसी को मैंने गलती से किसी को छोड़ दिया, सो धन्यवाद And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Roy. So again, I would say my sincere thanks and gratitude to Secretary Sir for sparing your valuable time and be with us here. So with this, we close this program and please join us for networking high tea at the back of this hall. Thank you.